I do remember from when I had the absolute honor of working with you in the West End, I remember you were so precise in when you were explaining the choreography, in your rhythms and your counts. I mean, we weren't tapping in that show, but it was as precise as if it were a tap number. I mean, it was an amazing experience to be able to work with you on that show, and something I just will never ever forget.
Thank you.
For our listeners, would you be able to just tell us a little bit more about your choreographic process? So like from the moment when you know that you're going to start working on a show, what sort of process do you go through in terms of how do you prepare? Do you write it all down? Do you work with an assistant? I know you have a wonderful assistant, but tell us about it, Bill.
Because indeed I trained as an actor and was already a fully trained dancer before I trained as an actor, I think that's the key to it. And the first thing you say to yourself, any choreographer, what do you want to say? What do you want to say with the number? What has it got to say? You know, and then you work with directors, and case in point, the amazing Dominic Cook, who is probably the best director in the world. He's just unbelievable. And a director will allow a choreographer, they will discuss what you need to say, and then they will give you your time to say it your way, which is what I did on Follies. It was an absolute joy. But so you decide what you're going to say. You then indeed take the music. What is the music saying? And so composers will tell you in the music the feel. I mean, Follies, I went back to the original versions of a lot of the routines because they weren't broke. You don't need to fix them. They were, you know, absolutely stunning. And the tap routine, the mirror routine in Follies indeed is a masterpiece. It tells you exactly what you need to do. So I didn't want to change it to do what other people thought it should be. So the music tells me what to do. I'm a great believer in orchestration. I listen to what the orchestration's doing, and that will tell me what really, and then I just go into my home here and I start to move in front of this mirror that's in front of me now, and I work and I feel it, and then I don't write everything down. I've got a computer, and she's probably the most wonderful computer in the world. She's my best friend, and that's Kylie, you know. And you know, it makes me laugh because Kylie and I, we've been together now 15 years. I met Kylie when I was doing a dance project at Arts Educational.
Right.
And I then did one of her final musicals in the third year, and then she's been with me ever since. And Kylie just knows the way I tick. And there's no one else that really gets it, you know. And there's a difference between an associate and an assistant and a head girl. Kylie's my associate. She doesn't choreograph, you know. And a lot of people make that mistake. She's my dearest friend, but everything I do, she takes, yeah. And it saves a lot of ink and paper writing it down. You can't write it down because I'm in the studio. What did I do there? Because I felt that. Right, let's build on it, you know. So we have a very special relationship, you know. I can phone her, and I have done while doing Dolly at 3 a.m. Kai, I've got this very amazing idea. What I want to do here, I want to try that because what the set's doing there, so I want to go against that. And she just gets that. She understands it, you know. So yeah, it's great. So then I get in a studio and I create the number. And then once you get with the dancers and the actors after the audition, then it starts to go together. Nothing can ever be set in stone. Yeah. You have to be able to apply what you do, you know, and that's where again Kai comes in, because I go, that's not working. I'm even looking at her now, I can feel it on my shoulder. It's not working, leave it with me, let me do this. And then I try something, and she go, I've got it, okay, well you do that, and then I'll go over there and do this, you know? You know, which often means when we're doing double work, and this always happens, I end up playing the girl and she ends up playing the boy. It's true.
To be fair, that's happened with us as well. It's true.
It's bizarre, isn't it? I think it's because I'll say, the boy's doing that, you do that, now let me do it's just part of our lives and the way we work. I love it. I won't change it for the world.
I actually have a supplementary question here, but just because bouncing off something that you said about when you say, for instance, when you phone her in the day and you say, I've got this great idea because the set's doing this, how important is for you to know the set design from the beginning of the process?
From the very beginning. I'm working.
How it changes throughout the process.
From the word go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had 9 full meetings with Vicky Mortimer and Dominic Cook before we even started Follies. And I'm doing the same now with Ray Smith, who's doing Hello Dolly. Mm-hmm. And we've had 2, but obviously now it's going to be just Skype calls, where I like to get in a room with the designer, and that we will, once we're through this, we'll get back to it. But without a designer, I don't work, because you have to come together, you know. And I remember we started the third meeting with Vicky Mortimer for Follies. We had the set model and the revolve, and Dominic said, let's play the overture. And we switched the overture on, and just as it hit this climax in the music, she flew this piece, and that's it. And it was just the most incredible experience. And that's what happens. It's teamwork. And when you've got a good, amazing team, there's nothing better. There is nothing better. And that's why I love what I do.
Yeah, it's amazing when you have a team of creative people just coming together, and the set is almost like another member of the cast in the way that it has to move with everyone else. And
that's right. Well, Follies was 9 weeks rehearsals with the technicals, and I didn't sit down because it was a revolve. Every seat in the house, it was a different picture. So I was choreographing right up till the last previews. We never stopped.
Yeah,
which was incredible, but just so rewarding. It was so rewarding to do, you know.
And an absolutely amazing show. Thank you for that insight, though. That's really fantastic. So we have another question, though.
So
go for it. Yeah, sure.
So as Ray mentioned at the beginning in the introduction, that you've also worked on TV programs like Strictly Come Dancing.
Yes.
How does choreographing for TV differ from choreographing for theatre productions?
TV, Strictly, which I've been doing now for 12, 13 years. I've done the musicals group routine for all that time, and numerous Charlestons.
Yeah, we love your Charlestons. They're all so fun.
Yeah. Oh, you don't do those, do you? Well, yeah, I do, absolutely. So you have to know how cameras work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You really do. And rightly so, a producer can come to me with like 15 minutes to go and say, those bars do not work. We can't get a camera on it. Can you change the angle? And you do it. You've got to know how to do it. When you set a number for Strictly, I don't know this year yet because we're still talking because of the virus, but normally I choreograph the group numbers. I normally do a couple each year. The group numbers in end of July.
Right.
And then we have a refresher before they actually do them in the series, because their workload, I know people know they work, they have no idea how hard those dancers work. Mm-hmm. They never stop. It's, you know, they are a credit to dancers. They really are. And they're lovely people. So you set the number, and then of course when you come to recap it, you actually choreograph it again, because a lot of it they've forgotten, you know. But they pick it up so quick, you know. But you've got to know exactly what you're doing. You can't mess up, because the camera has to hit the mark for each section. So you have to be exact, you know. And I'm lucky that I know that set backwards. I know how many steps it is up to the cake. I know how many steps it is going up to the top. You know exactly, and you know the angles are of the cameras. So that's really it. And then, but what you've got to do is you've got to be on the money, because you only get, 2 goes at it at the most. Unless it's being filmed live, then you get 1 go. And it always, like I did, purely coincidental, I did the Hello Dolly musical routine with Craig in the last series, which he stopped the show. I've known Craig a long while. He was a dear, dear friend and a wonderful, wonderful person. And when he came out as Dolly Levi, well, you can imagine the social media went mad. You know, I can assure you Imelda Staunton won't be doing it like that. But that number, the amount of choreography in that number was extraordinary. And those dancers learned it. All of them, respect to all of them. They're wonderful. And we did the first take, and they asked me halfway through if they want to go with the glitter cannons and all of that, because you'd never clear it up in time. And I'm going, no, hold the cannons, we're going to go again. And we went again, and on the second take, we got it spot on, you know. But it's, you only get one chance, and you've really got to know and look at the camera and see what camera may be slightly wrong. Yeah. You know, one dancer may be slightly off. Yeah, it's a completely different world. The pressure, you know, when they tell you it's going out in front of 11 million people, well, you don't even think about that because you're so focused on the job and what you need to do, you know. But I love it, and I love working with the camera. I just adore it. It's just something that, you know, I can do. I just adore it. It's wonderful. And it's such a contrast to stage. Yeah. You know, so you get the best of both worlds, you know, and that's what's wonderful. You know, so I count myself very lucky.
Well, your enthusiasm and passion for what you do comes across in any of the numbers you choreograph. They're always so full of life, so full of energy. They're vital, that, you know, they bounce off the screen. And whenever I've seen them, whenever I've been sat watching straight, I'm just like, oh, that's a Bill number right there. You can just see the energy. No, it's wonderful. But I'm really interested to ask you, just going back a little ways, you said you trained as an actor, and I believe that was at Guildford, was it, that you trained as?
Right, the School of Acting, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, you've said that one of the things that you take from your training as an actor is that as a choreographer, the first thing you think about is, what am I trying to say? But is there anything else from your acting training that you feel has helped you as a choreographer, whether that is working with actors or anything else? Because I'm very interested how acting dovetails into choreography.
Oh my gosh! Well, you know, the dance is an extension of acting, if you like. So they come together all the time. I think the acting experience and technique allows me to be simple, and actually you can actually strip things away and be far simpler, you know, and then maybe add after that. You know, I think you have to be careful with choreography because it can become so dynamic and fiddly because I'm a choreographer and I'm going to make that really busy, and it doesn't need to be. There are moments, of course, when it is, but you don't have to be. So I've learned that. Also, working with actors who immediately walk in the room, there's Bill Deamer, the choreographer. Oh my God, you know, you just think, just stop it, just calm down, it's fine. And an actor who hasn't had any movement training will try and move like what they think a dancer does. And the dancer just walks naturally. Just walk naturally, it's fine. Yeah. And then we build, you know. So, and I am an expert now, that sounds very vain, but I'm an expert at working with actors who have very little movement skills because it's frightening for them. They are petrified, you know.
They are, yeah. I mean, we've certainly experienced that. They literally are terrified of choreographers, and they say things like, they start saying things like, oh, you know, I might not be able to do this, and you can sense that. Yeah.
I've got two left feet.
Yeah, you might hear that a lot. I've got two left feet.
And then you get the actor. I worked with one recently, funnily enough. Okay, so I'm going to do step, turn, step, turn, step, double pirouette, stop. Yeah. Oh, was that all right? And he's nailed it. You know, and there are, you just don't realise how good they are.
Yeah. No, they very often underestimate their ability.
So I find that's interesting because in our business, you know, what I do, and I'm sure it's the same for you, every day is different.
Yeah, every day.
Every person is different. Everyone you work with, you approach in a different way. So you're going to find something new every day.